How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Bill, and in today's video we are continuing the Bronco build for SEMA. Now the last video we did the spare tire delete, and now that we got the license plate moved over to there, we can go ahead and get rid of this bumper and make room for the new bump. Down here along the sides you kind of see the wiring hanging down on each side here, but there is a clip, and if you climb underneath, it is right on the outside of this body mount. Up in there there's a wiring harness. You just unclip it and it pulls out, and there's another one, oops, and then there's another one on the other side. And it looks like after that all there's a bolt here on both sides, and then these two bolts on the bottom. We take those 6 bolts out, then this whole bumper should in theory just come right off. Alright, so yes, two 18mm bolts on the bottom. That's what we look like with no bumper on there. If you order the tow hitch, it's just those 4 bolts, I think, that go through there. Well, except for the wiring harness, which I hear is a complete pain. But yeah, removal of the rear bumper is actually quite easy. It's just these 2 connections on the side, and you just reach up from the bottom and disconnect those, 1 on each side, and then those 6 bolts, and the whole thing just comes right off. We can remove all these plates off the bumper back here to get better access to everything. But I think most of these we should be able to just push through. Now, these are all the clips that are holding the wiring harness in here, and we want to retain this wiring harness, and then we want to remove all the rear sensors because we're going to transfer that over to the new bumper. Push these all through. So now I'm just disconnecting. Right now I'm just disconnecting the sensors and pulling the wiring through. These sensors, they just pop out. They got a little snap on each side, and they slide into the plastic housing, snap in there. We got 4 of those. Did take this plate off to make pulling the wiring harness out of there a little easier. So we can go ahead and put that back together now. And it was just 5 of these 13mm bolts. I'll go ahead and tighten that back down so we have everything together. But this is what we were after, taking this wiring harness out of here. And we're going to transfer that over to the new bumper along with these sensors. So let me get this all cleaned up and we'll get moved over there. Alright, so there's a bunch of little panels on the bumper, like the footsteps, the sensor brackets and everything. And they are going to get a hex screw, and they all, on the bumper side, there is these little squares. And these little nuts are going to fit into that square. Put one end in, and then just kind of push the little lever, and they snap right in. But there is a bunch of them. I think the quantity on these was 58 or 52 or 58, something like that. So there is a bunch of them, but it makes putting these things on after you've already hung the bumper super simple. You don't have to reach back behind there, try to figure out how to hold the nut on the back side. You can put all these in, hang the bumper, run your wiring, and then put all these little panels on afterwards without having to be a contortionist to get these on. So I actually like that. It's just going to take a while. go through, put all 50, however many of these there are, 50 some on there. But if we look at the bumper itself, when it got shipped, it already had a lot of these in place, but it just had like one screw in there to hold it, showing it off. Like here, it's got 2 screws in it. And they're just kind of placeholders holding everything in place. So you know where it goes, but just got to take that one screw off, replace everything with these actual little nut inserts, and then we can hang the bumper itself, get everything lined up, and then we can come back and connect everything and kind of screw these in, like I said, without being a contortionist. So I'm going to go through, get all these hung, and then we can pick up after that. And now that we have those all in place, we can go ahead and hang this bumper. Alright, so that's probably something you want to do with more than one person. But let's try to get the bolts in here to get this held into place before I drop it on myself. So I'm not going to tighten this down just yet, but let's go ahead and snug these bolts up a little bit. Alright, so I stripped back some of this harness. This is where these wires were coming out to split off for this connector. But these are a little bit further distance than the stock sensors were. So I stripped this out a bit to bring it back here to separate that out. Now this one will go there, and this one will fit over here, and the rest will run without any issue. Should run without any issue. So that one should reach there with no problem. And then this one reaches over here with no problem. So that gave us enough. Just wrap this. Let me wrap all this up, get it all taped up, and then we should be good to go. Alright, so each one of these sensor plates has another one of those nuts that go on there. Anywhere, pretty much anywhere there's one of these little squares, it gets a nut. And then got this small piece of metal, and it's just going to go over the sensor like so. And then that's just going to slide in here. So the sensor is going to slide in there. Fits right in the hole perfectly. Then this metal plate is going to kind of fit right over top of it, like so, and that's going to hold that sensor in place. And then we're just going to take one of the screws and tighten it down. Not going to over tighten it, but just going to snug that down. And I'll get an Allen wrench to fully tighten that, but just snug it down so it's keeping pressure on the back of that plate, and that's going to keep that sensor from moving anywhere. Then we can connect our sensor. There we go. And anywhere we put those nuts, we're going to put in some of these supplied screws. So that fits on there. Sensor is perfectly on there. Connected. We have a whole bunch of stuff to screw in there now, so let's get some more screws and some more pieces. There, we got this step plate down here. So for these end caps, just put these wing nuts on there, or whatever you want to call them. Lock nuts, wing nuts, whatever they're called. And then we've got 4 bolts. Now this is probably the only thing that would have been easier to do before putting the bumper on. Everything else has been super simple to do with the bumper on. Not that this is going to be difficult, I don't think, to do this part before putting the bumper on. So yeah, if you know you're putting these end caps on, I would put these on first. Alright, so everything else I would follow exactly like they have in the instructions. It goes on well. The only exception is it said to put these wings on last, and I'm guessing that's because this is an optional thing, so not everybody's going to use these. But if you are going to use them, I would put these on first, because the back side of these are not exactly easy to access once you get everything into place. I gave up fighting this and trying to get back behind there and taking care of it. Like I said, it's only 6 bolts to remove the bumper, so I went ahead, loosened the bumper and pulled it out so I could actually get behind there and get those 4 bolts in. Then put 1 bolt in on this side so I could pull that side out, do the same. But now we got everything in place. And see from side view, pokes out a little bit more than the stock bumper, but not a huge amount, and it actually gives you some usable steps and everything that you can get up there. Now I do have to take these panels back off one more time, and that's because we have some lights that are coming that are going to go in there, but you can fit some pod lights back there. So just going to do some white pod lights that are going to fit in there. That way, if you need to back up and you need some extra light, just flip the switch and we are going to have plenty of light to back up with. And that's going to be pretty much it for the back. I think it's looking awesome. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Are you liking the look of this bumper? I personally love it. This thing is built solid. It's not going anywhere. It is definitely built well, and we'll see how it holds up over time. The only thing, I'm not 100% sold on the hardware yet. The kind of silvery hardware. When I first saw pictures, I did not like it. It's kind of grown on me having it like that. I'm not 100% sure if I want to keep it like that or eventually go to switch to some black hardware just to black it all out. But yeah, when I first saw pictures of all these, chrome, it looked like they were rivets, and it seemed like it was a lot, but it's actually bolts, and you can loosen them out. And you could change those out for other hardware if you so chose to. If you wanted to do black, make it all black, or if I paint them all so they all matched yellow, I think that would be a bit much, having them all yellow. So I don't know, but I think I'll just leave it with chrome for now, because hey, that's what we were going to have on the front bumper and the side steps, everything. So just keep it as it comes, how Bodyguard intended it, and see how we like it and go from there. But yeah, so far I am very impressed with their build quality. I mean, it came with instructions. The instructions are great. It said to put the bumper on first before putting all these on, and I was like, that's crazy, that's going to be impossible to get all the nuts. But then realized, oh, you're putting all those little nuts, fastening all those nuts on there first, so it's actually super easy once you get the bumper on there just to come through and attach all these. And so I didn't pay attention. It said the last step is to do these extensions if you're going to do them, and that's the one thing I would recommend changing the order of in the directions. Is just, if you know you're going to put those on, put them on first while you have the bumper off, hang the bumper up, and then continue from there. Otherwise, the instructions were perfect. So I hope that helps. If you've been interested in the Bodyguard rear bumper, there's a look at it and how to get it installed. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button and let me know. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down and let me know what you didn't like about it. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.